Hello and welcome to my review of the E-mta by Thunder Tiger. I'll start by giving you a brief view of what's inside the truck, as it's such a strange truck. You see it has laid down shocks here, as you can see. I made some metal rings for around the shock so they don't pop off. It has some links that go through your A-arms. It has the big old MT4 tires. Then the battery trays. So the batteries go in perpendicular. It works alright. What you do is you pull out this thing, put the battery in, put this thing back in, and then it's nicely secured. I haven't really had any trouble with it. It took me a while to get used to getting the wires in there with the battery, but definitely doable. Of course, the A-arms are off for the MGT or the Rival. You can see that the bumper is only linked in just by these two pieces of plastic, not underneath, which is too bad. And then we have all this casing around the ESC, which is in here. The receiver is in there, and then the motor you can clearly see here. Alright, let's go over the rest of the truck a little bit. The list. So, first of all, what is this? So it's the E-mta by Thunder Tiger. It's a big monster truck. It's not a truggy in any shape or form. It has the typical diffs underneath the, well, what do you call it, the center horizontal, giving it kind of a shape like this, which is typical for monster trucks. Well, I suppose you have some short course trucks also that have it. So like I said, it's based on the MGT, like the Rival. It's not based on the Rival. The Rival is also based on the MGT, or the MTA4, which is the same truck as the MGT. Right. Let's have a look. So the electronics are the same as in the MT4, so it has a 2000 kV ripper motor and a 150 amp Xeron Hobbywing ESC. Those two work great as always. The servo also works fine. It's a little bit slow, but definitely doable. I didn't change it out at all. The receiver and the remote's big for my liking, but does the job just fine actually. There's tons of trims and everything, which I do use. It also has a throttle, I don't remember what you call it, but the one you can turn down the throttle with, which you usually only have on nitro trucks, which is useful if you're letting someone else drive this truck. The truck, no, I'll discuss that later actually. You see, right, let's talk about durability. That's really the main point I think that people have with this. I think people recognize that it drives alright. Everyone wants to know, is it as durable as the MT4 or even more durable? And if not, then what are the flaws? I have found this truck to be pretty durable, especially just driving it around, cartwheeling it all over the place. It's fine. I didn't really break anything. I just broke one A-arm when I crashed it into a pyramid-shaped rock, so that's not really fair. The point just clipped the A-arm and broke it right in half. Another thing I had is I stripped out two of the wheel hexes. That's of course the same as for the MT4 because the wheels are the same. Perhaps it has to do with the fact that this has a slipper clutch and not a center diff, which puts more stress on your hexes. The slipper clutch also causes this thing to wheelie like crazy, by the way. So for that, set your slipper clutch, use a ton of thread lock or get some serrated lock nuts. Those work fine for me, actually. Then jumping though, that's one of the main things that people want to do with these kinds of trucks, and that's where the durability really is tested. So I did take this jumping. I did some pretty, for my sense, pretty crazy jumps, I thought. should be around between the 20 and 30 feet mark, I think. And the problem I found was, as expected, the bumper. So I broke it here. Let's see if I have the part. The broken part. Yeah, there you go. Here's the bumper. So this piece just snapped off, and this one's actually bent. So you can see here, it's only attached these two things, like I said earlier. Another thing, also somewhat expected, is the rear shock tower broke. As you can see, one of the ears that holds your body mounts just came off. I was actually able to continue my run. The body just, yeah, it doesn't sit as good, but it still works. Of course, that's not what you want. Yeah, so those are definitely weaknesses. One weakness that I heard of was that the shock caps tend to pop off. That's why I put some aluminum rings around them to stop them from popping off. So I didn't have problems with that, so that's actually a good fix. I think it's a lot better than paying 70 euros for the all aluminum upgrade from Thunder Tiger. Yeah, so jumping, those are definitely things you want to look out for. The bumper, you can't really upgrade. I suppose you could put a T-bone racing bumper in there, and you may need to re-drill some holes, and that would solve this. I've also heard about the wheelie bar bending. Mine hasn't so far. One of the big concerns is the shock tower. So Thunder Tiger does have an upgrade for these. They're very pricey. Again, I think they're 35 euros a piece. They're full aluminum, and as you can see, they are pretty beefy, so I think they'd be quite strong. Of course, I don't know what the quality of the aluminum is. That's why I just went with a stock replacement instead of getting an aluminum one, because I don't want to pay 35 euros and then bend it straight away. So I think that covers durability. See what else that? Fun. Yeah, it's definitely fun. It's very fast. I clocked it at 40 miles per hour on 4S, so that's 60 kilometers per hour. On 5S, I didn't clock it, but it's really fast. It's too fast, really. And on 6S, I'm sure it's just ridiculous. Especially with the slipper clutch, you can't keep the wheels on the ground. But that makes fun. It's a wheelie truck. I didn't actually get it to backflip like they advertise it on 4S, and I didn't try very hard on 5S. The ground was kind of wet. I'm sure you can get it to do it on 5 or 6S, but on 4S, even with the slipper clutch cranked down, I couldn't get it to backflip. It does some pretty impressive wheelies and flips itself on its back, though. Well, it's a good monster truck, and you can run it. I love running it through the forest and running it all over kinds of stuff. It does just great at that with the big, huge tires, and it jumps nicely. It's nicely controlled in the air. It's just that it's not super durable when it jumps in stock form. Alright, I think it looks really good. I like this body. It's nice. It's slow slung, but not too low slung. It keeps the monster truck look. I've seen them with other Proline bodies. They also look nice. So no complaints there. Then, would I buy it again? I think if I had no other monster trucks, and I was looking for a decent monster truck, and I was a bit of a beginner, then I think I would. I think with everything covered away like this, it's decently waterproof, so that's very nice to drive through a wet environment or snow or whatever you want to do. It has enough speed. I would just run it on 4S. It has enough durability just for running around. For a more experienced user, where I'm going to be jumping a lot, I would probably go for something else, like the MT4 or 1/8 scale buggy or truggy. One, because they're easier to upgrade and you have more upgrade options. You're not solely dependable on Thunder Tiger for their aluminum shock towers. Also, it is a tad bit heavy. It's not a light truck. So if you run anything above 4S, and even on 4S, the electronics are going to run a little bit hot. suppose you could gear it down. That would cost you some speed, though. Yeah, so I'd probably go for something else. Suspension is nice, actually set up really nice. It soaks up everything pretty easily. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I do appreciate the wheelie bar. It does function really well. It's really easy to make, well, wheelies that are as long as you want them to be, really. Which is awesome. The driveline hasn't given me any problems. The only problem I had was that it was misassembled from the factory by Thunder Tiger, so one of the cogs was not installed correctly and it broke in half when I ran it first. I replaced it, ever since didn't have any problems with it whatsoever. I suppose this is a bit complicated with the transmission and everything, but it seems to be working fine, and it makes for some cool noises when you run it. Alright, this is my review. Thank you for watching. I hope this was useful. That's the reason why I put this up, in order to share my experience with others.